Let's go. I'ma fight till I pass out. Taking flight, every hater I strike in a slash now. No time for the chat now. I grind for the glory, I'll fight for the last round. Y'all die in the background. My time of the shining bright lights coming fast now. One smoke, never back down. I'm down for the battle, that's right, cause I'm maxed out.
My face on the front page.
What?
Got paid for the gunplay.
What?
Popped off, got them shots off.
Alrighty, what is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR365. Yeah, we were having a little bit of a joke there in chat because basically Caleb in chat apparently has finally just discovered the Rice Gum song. Yeah, buddy, Rice Gum, you just lost one. And I was like, you know what? There's a little bit of a debate here. What's better, Rice Gum, or this rap? You know, it's a pretty tight call. I think I'm going to go with Rice Gum. I like the Rice Gum one a little bit better than this rap. But yeah, what is going on, everybody? It is 4 p.m. It is May 7th. And yeah, it's actually 4:01 p.m. It is Tuesday. It is May 7th. What is going on? We are back in the building. And so I wanted to talk for a quick second here. Actually, you know what? Let me switch over to my other scene and I'll have to... Oh, what's up with that? That is way off. Okay, hold on. It's probably because I had a guest last time maybe, or I haven't been in this view in a while. Okay, so hold on one second. I need to change something here. Let's see. It's this thing, right? Properties? Or no, not properties. Need to unlock this, and we need to fix this. Yes, because we've had a lot of PayPal donations in the last the last day or so. Surge IT with a $20 donation. So I wanted to let this run for a second. Short Power 24 donated $2 to the Oculus Quest Fund, which I thought that was pretty cool. We've got some new YouTube subs. K Millie in the building. Martin Wahinkle, $5 donation. Thank you so much, Martin. I truly appreciate that. I just want to go through all of our little recent donations because I want to make sure they all get a little bit of time in the sun here. Mad Spin, a recent YouTube sub. Star Child, I like your logo there. Star Child, what about the game Star Child, by the way? Phil Yarn, $5 donation by Phil Yarn. Absolutely appreciate that. Let's see which other ones do we got here. Steven Stimler, a brand new YouTube sub. I do need to add, I need to go through my YouTube subs and add a bunch more because I've been using some of the same YouTube subs. Travis Loker, a recent Patreon supporter. Really appreciate your support, Travis. Jay Benson with a comment. Game systems since the 1990s have been selling out to drum up interest, a standard marketing tactic. Okay, Fee Lee with $5 donation via PayPal. Thank you so much, Fee Lee. And Joseph Iapin commented, well, the future of VR is streaming games. That's what Google is working for. We're actually going to talk about Google a little bit today. Bernard Coors with a $20 donation very recently. A lot of these donations came actually, Eckhard Klatt recently joined the Patreon. Eckhard, so nice to have you aboard. Justin Peters with a $6 donation. But I actually had a flurry of donations after that one episode where I went on my rant. Okay, here's a MameFan comment. MameFan says, I wish Index costs more. Most people can't afford it? Well, guess what? Most people can't afford Lamborghinis either. But I guess MameFan has a Lamborghini. Goran Galenik, a $5 donation. Really appreciate that, Goran. John Kelly is one of our new YouTube subs. I just wanted to get through one little round. I am Ruts donated. I am Ruts. I can't believe I just said I am Ruts again. I will not stop saying I am Ruts. I am Roots donated 20 bones. And Del Wolfensparger, this guy will not stop donating. Dude, Del Wolfensparger, you may as well just go buy me a freaking Valve Index and airlift it in. Because goddamn, Del Wolfensparger just keeps on donating, but I appreciate it. I absolutely appreciate it. Okay, so we went through everybody. I just wanted to get through everybody one time real quick. Okay, so let's go back over to our standard scene here. Okay, so today the thumbnail image is Reverb Delay, and the title is Houston, Reverb has a problem. The Hewlett-Packard Reverb delayed. And so that is the topic of the day, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys are, my cat just walked by me down there. I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, what is going on with the HP Reverb? What is Anthony talking about? So I got to tell you folks, last night I was doing some minor things. I don't even remember now. Maybe I was like uploading the Pros Let's Play that I popped last night or something. I was on the computer and I happened to go to, I believe it was the Oculus Rift subreddit, and I was looking at some different stuff in there, and somebody mentioned that there's some reverb stuff that is going on. There are rumors that were swirling. This was last night, that maybe the reverb is being pulled. That we're not, that you can't buy the reverb. I know MRTV probably has this episode going right now where he is showing the reverb and he's talking about unboxing the reverb, but they may have like basically pulled this product and temporarily taken it off the market. And so there is a little bit of drama that is going on as far as that goes. And so why don't we get into that? That is the number one story of the day. I got to switch over here to our Webby browser for us to get into this topic. And let's see if I can find where it is. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so let's go over here to the web browser. And yeah, so I saw this thread last night. Problems on HP Reverb. Very visible green tint and washed out color balance. Okay, so Ars Technica, they got an HP Reverb, and they were trying to review the HP Reverb, and they had a lot of problems with the HP Reverb that they got, and so they contacted Hewlett-Packard and they said, you know what? I think we've got a problem with this particular HP Reverb. We need a replacement reverb. And then they got a replacement reverb from Hewlett-Packard, but everything was the same exact problem. Ars Technica took a look. Ars Technica look at HP Reverb VR headset will come later this week. It's been held up by confirming a very visible green tint and washed out color balance. HP thought a new headset would fix it, but we reproed this on two totally different PCs, two sets, two cords, every port, etc., etc. And then when you go into the comments, this guy says, yet another example of how raw specs on paper don't always equate to the best possible user experience in practice. Road to VR also reported that their unit had mediocre color reproduction, Mura, and red color bleed. Then this guy says, HP Reverb was supposed to go on sale today. It has not gone on sale. HP Reverb was supposed to be ordered by businesses such as Best Buy late last week. No Best Buy in Maryland is currently able to order any HP Reverb units. So yeah, so something's going on with this HP Reverb. Look, I know MRTV has his hands on one of these. I don't know if he contacted Hewlett-Packard directly. I did not watch his stream. That I don't know if it's still live or if that's over or what's going on. He might still be live with that stream. Maybe it's over. What I do when it comes to all these different streams that people do, I save it. I save it for when I'm at work and when it's boring as hell and I run out of VR gaming podcasts to listen to. I will probably tomorrow be listening to all of Sebastian's thoughts about the HP Reverb while I'm at work. So I have not seen that, so I can't comment on anything that Sebastian has talked about. But yeah, it does look like the HP Reverb might be having a little bit of issues here. And then if we go over here to Road to VR, they do have kind of a review or like their initial impressions of HP Reverb. And this was not 100% great either. For example, they have this little picture right here. This is an example of a display with Mura, which shows varying brightness across the display. A perfect display would have perfectly consistent brightness from corner to corner. So yeah, this like cloudy vision, that's pretty whacked. That is really whacked. Like this is very unfortunate. If you have like this kind of cloudiness going on. I don't know that that's Murrah, though. I always thought Murrah, like I always understood, some people would hop onto the Vive subreddit or the Oculus subreddit and they would say, wait a minute, I'm seeing all these little green speckles. What's going on with all these little green speckles? And then it'd be like, oh, that's just Murrah. See, I always thought Murrah was when you're just looking at a black background and there's nothing there, and you kind of see, it's like a little green star field that you kind of see, and it's like all these little green things, or it's like almost like dust is under your lens or something like that. I always thought that was Murrah. I didn't know that it was like this cloudiness or a lack of like uniformity among the brightness across a display, but that's what they're talking about here. It says, unfortunately, overall clarity is held back in a large way by plainly visible Murrah. At a glance, Murrah can look similar to the screen door effect in the way that it's locked to your face and reduces clarity, but is actually a different artifact resulting from poor consistency in color and brightness across the display. It ends up looking like the display is somewhat cloudy. Yeah, that's definitely not something that you want to hear about. Also, they talk about some other visual artifacts. There's a considerable amount of chromatic aberration outside of the lens's sweet spot. There's also subtle but noticeable pupil swim. You know what? Is this Ben Lang? Because, dude, Ben Lang, okay, yeah, it is Ben Lang. And I got to tell you, man, Ben Lang is a harsh reviewer. Like, he is really harsh. He notices God rays like a mofo, and he'll talk about pupil swim. He'll talk about chromatic aberration. He will talk about red whatever, distortion, or he'll talk about all these little different things. Not the easiest reviewer out there. I think there's a lot of other people that maybe aren't quite as harsh. Ben Lang does seem to be a bit harsh on his reviews, but some people really appreciate that. They are Fresnel lenses, which means they're susceptible to God rays. And of course, Ben Lang is very familiar with God rays, and he notices them quite a bit. I didn't actually see whether he talked about God rays in this particular review here. But yeah, Ben Lang is, he'll swing the hammer pretty hard. Yeah, he talked about red smear, which is something he's never seen before. While I couldn't spot any obvious ghosting or black smear, the Reverb shows red smear. It's the same thing you'd expect with black smear, where dark black colors can bleed into brighter colors when you move your head, which the smear thing, this is what we're getting eliminated with the Valve Index. No smearing whatsoever, right? But in Reverb, it manifests most when red, or any color substantially composed of red, shares a boundary with a dark black color. God, this guy does some really in-depth testing. Ben Lang definitely does some really in-depth testing. So there are some concerns out there with HP Reverb. Look, I don't know that the thing has actually been delayed. And my title and, Houston, we have a problem. It's a little bit of hyperbole there. And so I just want to caution people that basically I was just kind of screwing around last night. I heard some of these rumors that there were some big problems with Reverb. I decided to make a quick thumbnail, but this is not like a major catastrophe or anything. In fact, this may be a super minor thing, and maybe Reverb hasn't been delayed at all. But Ars Technica got 2 different headsets. They seem to be having problems, and Ben Lang seems to be noticing some issues as well. Some problems in paradise, I guess, with the Hewlett-Packard Reverb. I was thinking about ordering one of these. I have had a lot of donations that have been coming in, and I almost thought I had enough money to buy a Reverb as well. But not quite. I do have enough money to get the Quest. I do have enough money to get the Valve Index. I might have enough money to also grab the Rift S on the 21st, but that remains to be seen. But that's pretty much the limits of my money right now. So I will try to contact Hewlett-Packard and see if I could possibly get a loaner, if possible. I would like to get a loaner, and I still want to check out. This is the highest resolution display out there at this current point in time, right? In terms of, it's got the highest PPD of any display out there. I'm very concerned with the binocular overlap. And that's another thing that I'm concerned. In fact, that's going to be one of these things. I have not had time yet. I was at work today. I apologize, guys, because I'm not as prepared as I was when I used to do this show. Now that I'm back at my normal job, I just don't have all the time that I had before. And so I don't have time to read all these articles in depth like I would have liked to. And so I actually need to take some time and sit down and read all these things. But I haven't heard if any of these Reverb impressions, if they've talked about that binocular overlap, how Hewlett-Packard kind of cheated on that to get the bigger sweet spot. They've got this bigger sweet spot, but they don't have an actual IPD adjustment. And they feel like they justified the fact that they don't have an IPD adjustment by having this bigger sweet spot. They feel like it accommodates more users. But to get that bigger sweet spot, they cheated on the binocular overlap, which is kind of what Valve did as well with the Valve Index. They kind of cheated a little bit on the binocular overlap as well to get extra field of view. They also have the candid displays, which are, 5-degree candid displays, which also gives them extra FOV. And then, of course, maximum slider gets you a much more percentage of the FOV as well. So a little bit of cheating going on there at Valve. Of course, I fully imagine that if I was to have somebody from Valve's hardware team come on this show and come on down, I would love to have anybody that is directly working for Valve and is involved with the project. I would love to go over the 20 criticisms I had about the Valve Index and have this Valve person tackle each and every one of those criticisms. That would be a wonderful show. I would love to do that. Open invitation for anybody that works at Valve on the VR team. If you want to discuss some more insight into the Valve Index, love to have you guys on. Absolutely. Because I would love to see what is their explanation for, taking a little bit of that binocular overlap. I'm sure they probably have an explanation for it, and I'm sure they're probably going to say, you know what, actually, because of the way we're doing it, it's a non-factor. But I also want to ask them, what's up with the 58 to 70 millimeter thing? Because it seems like a little bit more of a narrow range, and I think that is related to that binocular overlap as well. And I feel like, there's always trade-offs. I trust Valve. Like, they know all the trade-offs. All these companies know the trade-offs, man. So it's not like they're sitting in some room, in some glass tower somewhere, and they're making these decisions, and they're like, yeah, let's screw everybody with God rays. God rays don't bother us, so let's screw it. No, there's just trade-offs. There's just so many trade-offs. We're never going to have... No, never's not a good word. We're not going to have a perfect VR headset for quite some time, and trade-offs are a part of the reality. And so all these different companies are making trade-offs. And really, we can't really argue like the decisions. We can argue that maybe they should have went with this trade-off instead of that trade-off, but it's all trade-offs. It's never going to be perfect. Or, well, I can't say never, but in the next 20 years, I don't know that we're going to have a perfect VR headset. Maybe. Okay, so let's get into our next story. So I'm going to bounce back over here to our standard scene. Let me try to grab a trailer as we get into our next story. Might as well. And let me see if I can go ahead and grab a quick trailer here. I should probably have these babies lined up before I start, but I'm not going to do that. So let's go ahead and grab this. And so Vader Immortal. Vader Immortal is in the news. We have found out, folks, that Vader Immortal is $10. It is $10. So on May 21st, when you grab yourself your Oculus Quest, Vader Immortal is going to be available. It's going to retail for $9.99. Now, the experience is apparently it's somewhere between about 45 minutes and an hour and 15 minutes, or basically 45 minutes and a little over an hour. Something like that is kind of the runtime for this experience. It might depend on how quickly, are you stopping and smelling the flowers? Are you just kind of A-Bing this thing and trying to get through it as quickly as possible? That is going to vary. but it is going to be $10 for Vader Immortal. I haven't heard any word yet on cross-buy, but isn't this going to be an Oculus published title? I know ILM X Lab. I don't know if it's going to be published by Oculus Studios and developed by ILM X Lab in collaboration with Ninja Theory. But my question basically is, and my dog just walked in here because I forgot to close my door. My question is, I thought with every Oculus every Oculus published title on the Oculus Quest, I thought cross-buy is pretty much just a lock. Cross-buy is guaranteed basically, right? For everything that is published by Oculus. And I don't know if they're actually publishing this. I don't know if ILM X Lab is publishing it. But if they're publishing it, you would imagine there would be cross-buy. Now, the Oculus Rift version of this game, I've always understood that the Oculus Rift version of Vader Immortal is actually coming later this year, which I think is good news because I think, let the Quest have some fun in the sun, quite literally, according to that Wall Street Journal video, right? Let the Quest have some fun in the sun. We're all going to bring our Quests to the beach. Let's have some fun, right? But seriously, I'd love Vader Immortal to kind of be a really hyped up little thing for the Oculus Quest for a number of months before the Rift gets its hands on it. But you know what? They're talking about this on the Oculus Rift subreddit, the fact that this will cost $10. And some of the people are talking about how this is now day and date, like it's going to be on the Rift on May 21st. And I'm like, what? It's going to be on the Rift on May 21st? That's news to me. So has anybody heard about this anywhere else? Because a few people are saying this is day and date on the Oculus Rift as well. But the last that I heard, Vader Immortal is available on 21st, but it's not coming to the Rift until later this year, is what I heard, unless that's changed. If that's changed, I personally think that's unfortunate because I would like it to shine in the sun. And then the question of the day, so that leads us to our question of the day. So let me go ahead and grab my little question of the day thing real quick. The question of the day is, do you consider Vader Immortal? Well, it's pretty much an experience. This is an experience with light gameplay sequences that are intermingled into this experience, but they're not calling this a game. Vader Immortal is not a game. So what is your price scenario here? Yeah, I mispronounced Root's name again. I called him Ruts for a year now, so it's going to be hard to unforget that. But the question of the day, guys, is, do you feel it's worth it to pay $10 for an experience? Now, this might be one of the greatest experiences known to man. It's Star Wars. It's Star Wars. We get a lightsaber. We're playing it on a system that has no cords or anything. We've got freedom, and it's going to be awesome. I'll be honest with you. On May 21st, when I drive home from GameStop, and yeah, I got a GameStop pre-order. Can you believe that? I know that sounds crazy, but look, there's a GameStop 5 minutes away from my house. They open up at 10 a.m., and I'm going to be there 10 a.m. on the dot. And the first thing that I want to play Vader Immortal. It's the first thing I want to fire up. I obviously need to set the thing up and download it and, pair it to my phone and go through that whole process and then buy Vader Immortal and download it. But it's the first thing I want to play. There isn't anything I'm more hyped to play than Vader Immortal. Journey of the Gods, Face Your Fears 2, Sport Scramble, all the other little things that are coming. I'm excited for all that as well. But Vader Immortal, seriously, if I had a Quest right now and all games were unlocked, Vader Immortal is the first one I'm popping up. But what do you think is fair? Like what have you paid for an experience? What's the most expensive experience you've bought so far? Did you buy the Great Sea? That was like $7, I believe. Did you buy Spheres, which I think was $10, the same price as this? What do you think about buying experiences? Have you ever bought an experience? So this is kind of the question of the day. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into our next thing. And so our next thing is Survios. Do you guys remember I was talking about Survios? Well, actually what I was talking about is, remember back to the year of Lord Gaben 2016, when we first got the HTC Vive and we first got the Oculus Rift, and I was thinking about the big games that arrived in the year 2016. And I Am Roots is asking me about a Mandela effect. I like Mandela effect. You know, the strongest Mandela effect. Okay, actually, let me go off topic for a quick second here. Just a quick off topic thing about Mandela effect. Because you know who else is into the Mandela effect? Paradise Decay. It seems like all of us older people are into the Mandela effect, you know. And one thing I'll say about the Mandela effect is I think 99.9% of the Mandela effects are completely bogus. 99.9% of them, totally bogus. The problem is there's a 0.1% that I think is realer than Real Deal Holyfield. And that's an old reference as well to a Snoop Doggy song, right? Snoop Doggity Dog. Yeah, so do you guys know what the 0.1% one is that is actually legit? That's your bonus question of the day. What is the one legit Mandela effect? I'll tell you guys, it's Fruit of the Loom. It's the Fruit of the Loom logo. My mom bought me Fruit of the Loom t-shirts, Fruit of the Loom underwear, tidy whities, man. I had tidy whities back in the days, right? They were Fruit of the Loom. I remember that logo. That logo was burned into my brain. And apparently that cornucopia logo never existed. So I feel like I am in an alternative timeline. I don't know what's going on, but that's my little Mandela effect news for you. Okay, so back to VR. So one of the things I was talking about not too long ago is I was saying, hey, it's been a long time since we got raw data, since we got Arizona Sunshine. When are we going to get Arizona Sunshine 2? When are we going to get raw data 2? Well, Survios does have a brand new VR game coming this summer. Unfortunately, it is not Raw Data 2, but it is a brand new game. It is called Battle Wake, and there's a brand new trailer for it. And so why don't we go ahead and check out this trailer, and we can talk about it on the way back. So I'm going to go ahead and pump the volume of this little question of the day, which has no volume. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the new trailer for Battle Wake, a brand new game by Survios that is coming this summer. So let's go ahead and check this out. Pirates on the open seas.
Tell a tale, one of a lost city and a mystical throne sealed away inside of it. Are ye brave enough to join the fray?
Oi, Captain, there's good winds today. Try to catch 'em so we can speed ahead. Fire the broadside! Keep your hands steady, lads! We've got them on the run! Batten down the hatches! Incoming fire! The captain sank one again, lads! Keep hitting them where it hurts, swabbies! Unleash the Kraken!
You have everyone accounted for. It be time to set sail. Battle Wake. The high seas become. Will you dare take the fight?
Adios, Captain! Have fun swimming on!
All right, well, that is Battle Wake, and according to some of the stories I've read on this game, it's actually arriving this summer from the creators of Raw Data and Creed and Sprint Vector, of course, Battle Wake. So in this game, you're going to become a mythical pirate lord. You are going to captain a huge pirate ship. You're going to be doing ancient magics and stuff like that. And there's a 20-chapter story that is involved in this game that you can play both as like a single-player campaign or you can also play co-op. There's also going to be a PvP deathmatch that's going to be involved in this. I'm not sure exactly how many players are going to be involved in the deathmatch portion of this game, because one of the other things that we found out about Battle Wake is Survios. One of the things that they have been doing recently is they've been making some tailored experiences for arcades as well. They've been kind of dipping their toes in the VR arcades and location-based entertainment waters. And so there may be a 10-player VR arcade version of Battle Wake as well, which that tells me if the VR arcade version is 10 players, then the PvP is probably going to be like maybe 6 players or something, or maybe 5 players, probably a bit smaller. But yeah, apparently there is a story, a 20-chapter story in both single player and co-op, because Chris says if it has a real story, I'm in. Who would have imagined that we would be battling the Kraken or using the Kraken on our side in 2 different games in the summer in VR? Because that very well could be possible, because Asgard's Wrath could possibly arrive around July or August, possibly, or maybe even earlier than that. And this could be arriving around July or August, possibly. So a double dose of the Kraken could be in our future. I love water. I love water in VR. I like the way these waves are undulating and moving around. Like, that looks really cool right there. I'm not really into the whole pirate thing. I know pirate thing, like some people are really into pirates and stuff. Never been that much into pirates, but it looks pretty good. And Survios, let's face it, these guys have got chops. They've done a lot of games in VR. This ain't their first rodeo. This is like their fifth or sixth VR game, right? So they've been doing this. They've been making VR games for quite some time. So we expect good quality titles from them. They really haven't disappointed us. Electronauts was good. Sprint Vector was good. Raw Data was good. Creed was great. Now, Creed on the Quest, kind of Creed on the Quest, a bit mediocre from what I've heard. So, I don't know what's going on with all of that. Okay, but that is Battle Wake. All right, so the next topic I wanted to get into, I wanted to talk about PieMax for a quick second here. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can find a PieMax video, because I don't think I have very many, but let's see if I can find a PieMax video. So we'll go with this one, I guess. This one, I think, was when MRTV, I believe this might have been at the Consumer Electronics Show back in January or something. MRTV was there, and he got to try out all these different prototypes. So here's the thing about PieMax. I gotta tell you, man, I don't really take PieMax seriously. Like, I've never really taken PieMax seriously. And I'm wondering, am I making a terrible mistake by not taking PieMax seriously? Or am I clever like a fox by not taking PieMax seriously? Because a lot of people were talking about like these PieMax sword controllers and, and they're like, I don't know, man. I just don't take this company seriously. Like, it's just a small company, and it just seems like they're flying by the seat of their pants. And I have almost zero interest in anything PieMax. And well, I had more of an interest in stuff PieMax, but now that we've got the Valve Index, I have like almost no interest in the PieMax stuff at all. And am I out of my mind? Because I was listening to Coffee in VR, which is another good, Coffee in VR is another good podcast that you guys can listen to. They're pretty much once a week, usually on like Saturday mornings, rendered reality on YouTube. I listen to them when I'm at work. I'm working at work, so I'll listen to Coffee in VR. And I believe Tyler, is it Tyler on Coffee in VR? I think he's like ordered a PieMax, or like they're actually interested in like these controllers. A lot of other people are interested in this stuff. Not interested. I'm just not interested. Now, Nathy says he actually played with those controllers when he visited them in China. And Nathy has also been to Survios's LA studios, which is ginormous. So I would love to check all those things out. That must have been awesome. A trip to China must have been pretty freaking incredible. Nathan, you had to seriously enjoy that. I mean, what an interesting trip to go to China. That would be awesome. But yeah, I don't take PieMax seriously. Am I making a terrible mistake here? But I don't know. I like anytime I hear something about PieMax, it like goes in one ear and out the other. I just don't even take it. I don't know. Maybe because I know that I'm not going to be buying one. And like you can't buy them at like Amazon or Best Buy, and I don't want to have to send something back to China. And then people that have had them have had so many problems that I've just kind of written it all off. Like I don't know. I feel like there's like a minimum requirement that needs to be met from a company where I'm not gonna buy anybody's VR headset. Like I'm not gonna go buy any old company's VR headset. You got to be like a major company for me, and HTC barely qualifies, and I don't think PieMax qualifies. And maybe I'm being ridiculous for not considering their stuff, but I just don't really consider it. So you guys might have wondered why I haven't commented on these Sword controllers. I have no interest, like less than zero interest. And I find it bizarre. Again, maybe I'm completely out of whack here, and maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but I find it completely bizarre that some people really are considering these as like a legitimate consideration compared to like the Valve Knuckles. Like I wouldn't even put them, to me it's like taking a little league player and putting him with a Major League Baseball player. Like I wouldn't even put the two together. So I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe I should actually be interested in PieMax, but not really. Nathan says, I did a tour of their office. You can find a video on my channel. I also show off their Sword controllers. Yeah, you know what? I need to check that video out. That video where you ride like that crazy contraption, right? I need to check that video out. Yeah, I mean, I know people have tried PieMax and they're like, yeah, I can't go back. But I've also heard people, like the main claim to fame with PieMax, right, is this wider FOV. And then people talk about they don't even notice the wide FOV. So I don't know. I feel like when everybody gets their hands on the Valve Index, I think PieMax is going to be a long and distant memory. And I think that's going to happen with a lot of headsets. I kind of believe the Valve Index is going to come in. Like, obviously, the Valve Index incredibly expensive. And so not everybody's going to be able to afford these things. But I think when the Valve Index arrives and everybody gets their hands on the Valve Index and everybody starts using the Valve Index and everybody starts realizing just how much better everything feels inside the Valve Index, like I think we're going to be at a new bar. And I think anybody that's under that bar is not even worth considering, including like Rift S, including Vive Cosmos. I think all of these companies are going to have to go back to the drawing board after the Valve Index. I think Valve Index is going to change the game. Now, I've never tried it. I haven't personally tried it, but that's my belief. Like, that's my Nostradamus prediction. The Valve Index is going to change the game, and everything else is not going to be up to snuff, especially a small company like PieMax that seems to be kind of flying by the seat of their pants. They seem to change their minds every other day on different things. I don't know. I guess you could call me a PieMax hater. I don't really know enough to even be a hater, though. I just haven't followed it very much. I just never have taken it seriously. So I guess that's probably a bad thing. You know, I probably should take them seriously, but I haven't really taken them seriously. Okay, so let's go. Google is doing their thing today, or they did their thing today, and there is some talk about Google and Oculus Quest and the Pixel 3a phone and all of that. Why don't we talk a little bit about that? So let's go over to the Webby browser real quick. And so, yeah, I did see this story here. Google is not releasing an Oculus Quest competitor, and the Pixel 3a, which is kind of like a mid-range phone that they're bringing out for about $400, it does not support Daydream. And so what can we take away from some of this information about Google? Because the thing about Google, guys, Google is a sleeping giant. They are very much a sleeping giant when it comes to VR and AR. Because I'm telling you, man, this is the greatest Kentucky Derby ever. I know we just had the real Kentucky Derby, and Steve went to a Kentucky Derby party and got absolutely hammered. No, I'm just kidding. But I like that little fake story there. But the real Kentucky Derby is all of these competitors that are going to be battling over our AR and VR future. Because look at, smartphone computing is where it's at right now, but that's not where it's going to stay. We're going to stop looking down at something, and we're just going to have something sitting on our face. And we're going to go to AR, and we're going to go to VR. AR and VR are going to dominate everything. It might be 10 years away, 15 years away from this domination happening, but it's going to happen. And Google is a sleeping giant, and I always want to know, what are these sleeping giants doing? And so here, Google, apparently there is no Oculus Quest competitor coming anytime soon. So Google's Clay Bavor, he did an interview with CNET, and one of the things that he mentioned here is that their focus is going to be on services and the bright spots where they see VR being really useful. One of the things they said, here's a quote from that interview over there. It's, on the hardware devices side, we're much more in a mode of R&D and thoughtfully building the Lego bricks that we're going to need in order to snap together and make some really compelling experiences. So it appears to me that Google is kind of sitting on the sidelines right about now, and they're letting Sony and they're letting Facebook and they're letting Samsung and they're letting all these other companies kind of dabble a little bit, and they're just kind of playing the back fade a little bit right about now. Now, of course, they did create their Daydream platform, but you know what, Google, okay, so there's no Daydream on the Pixel 3a. This is a $400 mid-range addition to the Pixel lineup. It does not support Daydream. Is this the beginning of the end for Daydream? And it could be. This could be. Google has gained a reputation. I was just about to mention this, and then I didn't even have to do it because it's in this article. Google has gained a reputation for starting and quickly abandoning new platforms and products. But it's disappointing to see the company seemingly take this approach to virtual reality. So, yeah, they stepped into the game with Daydream. They had their Daydream. There were even like commercials on national television and stuff, Daydream commercials, and they had the fabrics and stuff, and it was kind of this cool idea. And Daydream never really took off, and it kind of fizzled out. And Google does have this habit where they kind of like throw things at the wall. They try to see what sticks. And if it doesn't stick, they just walk away from it and they forget like it ever happened. And so that may be happening with Daydream. I think the good news, though, is there's not a chance in hell that Google is just going to walk away from AR and VR. They're not walking away from that. They're spending a lot of money on it. I guarantee you. They probably have facilities that rival Facebook Reality Labs, if not put Facebook Reality Labs to shame. Now, they might be more focused on AR. They might be a lot more focused on AR than they are VR, but they're absolutely working on VR-related stuff and AR-related stuff. And the sleeping giant will eventually wake up, and we're going to hear from them in the not-too-distant future. Same thing with Apple. Okay, so what else is going on? Of course, one of the things we do like to take a look at is the Oculus Daily Deal. And today, we don't have as good of a daily deal as we had yesterday. Yesterday was Just in Time Incorporated for only $5. And you know what? Speaking of Just in Time Incorporated, have you guys heard the latest episode of Virtual Strangers? Because I heard the episode today. Such a great podcast. I really like it because it's 4 guys talking about VR, but more from a game perspective. They're more into the games, not so much news, not so much hardware. and actually one of them picked the game Just in Time Incorporated. I think it might have been Wes picked that as one of his games that he was talking about. And it's funny because that was the same day we had the sale on Just in Time Incorporated. What a quinky dink, right? Okay, so what is our sale for today? And so the Google deal of the day, the Oculus daily deal is Nevermind for $10. And there is a little bit over 7 hours left in this. Normal price is $20. It is going for $10. You know what? This is one of these games we saw this was a daily deal not that long ago. Like this was a daily, because I remember seeing this like video, looking at this video and thinking, oh, this looks pretty trippy. This looks like something I would kind of want to trip out to. This game here, Nevermind, but I had never heard of it. But yeah, it does look kind of trippy. But yeah, this thing is the daily deal. It is $10, 50% off. You got a little bit over 7 hours left in that daily deal at this point. Okay, so another thing I wanted to get to, actually, speaking of virtual strangers, let me just show you guys YouTube. We don't need to do .com. YouTube, and let's just go to virtual strangers and whoops, what happened here? Okay, virtual strangers. So yeah, this is a good podcast. I highly recommend you guys checking out this podcast. But in today's episode, or well, I heard it today. I think it came out yesterday. I ended up hearing this episode today. But in this episode of Virtual Strangers, Alex up there in the upper left corner there, Alex was talking about Kin. Kin for the Oculus Rift, for the Oculus Go. You know that game Kin, K-I-N? And one of the things he mentioned about Kin is it's on the go, and he just expects it to come to the Oculus Quest. And I thought, you know what, this is an interesting topic right here. Is this okay? Is this okay? Should we have games? Should we have games, Oculus Go games, that just get straight up ported to the Oculus Quest? Is this acceptable? And I don't know, man. I don't know that I think that's acceptable. Like Alex, the way Alex was talking about it, it seemed like he was perfectly fine with this idea that Kin would just get ported to the Oculus Quest, and it would basically be the exact same thing. Now, I'm not saying what I'm trying to say here is I don't think that Oculus Go games should not be allowed to come to the Oculus Quest. But I really don't want to see them just take an Oculus Go game, add some, slap some 6DoF on it and call it a day and just put it out on the Quest and just say, yeah, here it is. Here's Kin for the Oculus Quest. You can now lean in now. You can lean in, but it's basically the exact same game engine and everything. The textures are exactly the same. Do you guys want that? I sure as hell don't want that. And I kind of wish Oculus had a policy on this. Like, I would like Oculus to say, you know what, we're not just going to allow straight up Go ports to the Quest where you could just sell you could just sell your Go game on the Quest. Nah, I don't think that should happen. And I don't think we've heard very specifically about this. I'm kind of worried about this because I don't want the floodgates to just be let open and then you just have nothing but Go ports coming to the Quest unless you really specify it and you actually have in the Oculus Quest store, you have like a little Go store where you can buy Go games for your Quest, and it's almost like you're running them in an emulator on your Quest, and you can run the Go game on your Quest. Like if they want to do that, that's a completely different story because then people know, okay, well, this is basically just an Oculus Go game, but I'm playing it on the Quest. But I'm kind of worried about that. I want to see developers take their games and improve the textures. Like do something with your game if you're going to put it on the Quest. I do not want to just see straight up ports. And so I'm wondering what you guys think about that. And so in chat, some people are saying, well, as long as it's free, if I bought it on the Go and it's free, yeah, but what about everybody else that didn't buy it? Like, how is it going to be listed in the store? Like, that's fine. I mean, I guess if they do that, they need to make it very clear in the store that this is just a Go port. And this is basically just a Go game. As long as they make that very specific when you're buying it so that nobody thinks, oh, this is Kin. What's the name of the developer here? I forget what the name of the developer is. But, this developer, House of Secrets, I think. House of Secrets might be the developer for this game. Like, if they actually take time and make a legitimate Quest version, I'm cool with that. But I don't like this idea of porting. I was just curious what your guys' thoughts about that. Now, a similar topic, going back to this episode, Virtual Strangers, another thing that they talked about on this episode of Virtual Strangers, and again, I recommend checking this out when you guys have an opportunity. They need to make a podcast feed for this too. If you guys haven't already done it, I think you guys should make a podcast feed for this. I think it'd be a good idea to have a podcast feed, audio only podcast feed. But one of the other things that they mentioned today, I heard it today on Virtual Strangers, yesterday I believe is when it came out, is Tetris Effect. And so I Am Roots was talking about Tetris Effect, and somebody else on that episode was talking, a couple of people were talking about Tetris Effect, and they were saying that this is way better. Like, I've talked a bunch of smack about Tetris Effect, right? And I must be way off the reservation here on Tetris Effect. I feel like I've got to play the real version of Tetris Effect. Because I guess the demo just wasn't a proper look at this game, because the way I Am Roots, again, I'm going to always make that mistake. The way Roots was talking about Tetris Effect, like just being this like incredible breakthrough thing, like I did not get that at all when I was playing the demo. And I'm starting to wonder, like, did I really experience the proper Tetris Effect? Like, do I need to rent this game? Do I need to get like a freaking GameFly subscription and actually rent Tetris Effect? Because I feel like I haven't played this game, because people that I respect, like people's opinions I respect, like this game, really like this game. So Kev Gret is saying the demo was terrible, that Tetris Effect is awesome and gets a bad rap. Okay, so I probably need to rent this game and figure this out, because they were talking about it on Virtual Strangers and it made me think of it. And the number one thing I can say for Virtual Strangers as it being a very good podcast, although Chris says Tetris Effect was terrible. And Chris, are you talking about the demo or the full game? But Virtual Strangers makes me want to play the games that they're talking about. And that is a great job. That is a wonderful job as a podcast. If you're talking about these games and you make me want to fire up these old games, that is a job well done. And so I do want to check out Tetris Effect at some point, but that made me think of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and bounce back over to Upload VR, and let's check out some stories that are going on. So I'm going to go back to the Webby browser over here, and let's go over, let's see, where is Upload VR? Okay, so here's Upload VR. So in the news, I did see this, the Magus Tale. So the Magus Tale has been on PlayStation VR for a little while now. Of course, we remember when we saw the trailer for the Magus Tale on PSVR, man, it looked pixelated. It was not a graphical showpiece, not at all. This was not a graphically stunning game by any stretch of the imagination. And so people were crying back in the days when this first hit PlayStation VR, where's the Pro Patch? Where's the Pro Patch? So we finally do have a Pro Patch. A Pro Patch has hit the Magus Tale. The update is free to anyone that plays the game on a PS4 Pro. And this will include higher resolution textures, super sampling will be enabled, and there are also higher quality particle systems. Upload VR has not checked out the game themselves, so they don't notice how much of a noticeable bump in fidelity there is, but I guarantee you, if you were to bounce over to the PSVR subreddit, there's probably a lot of people talking about how much better this is. Now, I have a PlayStation 4 Pro, and honestly, the benefits of a PlayStation 4 Pro, it's not that big of a difference. Like, I've played stuff like Battlezone on a regular PlayStation 4, and then I've played it on the Pro. I've played, like the Astrobots demo, the Playroom VR Robots Rescue demo on a regular PS4, and then played it on a Pro. And the difference is very, very tiny. Like, it's a really tiny difference. It's the kind of difference that Ben Lang is going to notice. When he notices like a red push or chromatic aberration or any of these little or pupil swim and stuff like that. Like, I don't even know what the hell pupil swim is. I've heard people talk about it. Don't really know what the hell pupil swim is. I do know what Mura is. But if you're a real stickler for the details, you might notice the improvement that you get with a PlayStation 4 Pro. But I don't really notice all that much of an improvement. But it should be good news for some people that do have the Magus Tale, because that wasn't necessarily a graphical stunner when that arrived. Let's see, what else do we have going on? You know, there was, actually, let's go to the subreddits. One of the things I heard about, let's go to the PlayStation VR subreddit. They might be talking about this over here. And let me go ahead and refresh this real quick. Let's see. One of the things that I did hear some people talking about, okay, the Magus Tale, now PS4 Pro and 3D rudder enhanced. I'm also kind of surprised about 3D rudder. Like, this is another thing that I don't get. Why are people so excited about 3D rudder? I guess the excitement for 3D rudder is because there isn't a thumbstick. So I guess that's the excitement for 3D rudder, is it solves the great thumbstick problem. The great thumbstick problem of 2016. So anyway, here's some of, this is actually from the developer. This is from NXile Entertainment. A breakdown of everything that came to the Magus Tale, now enhanced for PS4 Pro. And so, yeah, higher resolution textures, super sampling has been enabled, higher quality particle systems. They've also added 3D rudder support, additional button information for resetting camera and player position. They've fixed in a number of bugs. And so they're kind of giving you a sample here. Here's the PlayStation 4 version. Here's the PlayStation 4 Pro version. And I'm telling you, you got to be a real stickler for the details to notice any difference. Let's see if anybody in here has already tried it and has noticed anything. Looks like most people haven't gotten in and checked it out yet. So, yeah, the 3D rudder, I mean, I get it. PlayStation VR does not have a thumbstick. But the idea of sitting down, like, I don't want to sit down and play VR games unless it's very specifically a seated PSVR game. That is not what I'm thinking about. So let's see if anything else is going on PSVR. See, PSVR, it's the forgotten child, right? PSVR is the forgotten child over the last couple of weeks because it was all Oculus Quest, it was all Rift S, it was all Valve Index all the time. And like PSVR was just completely forgotten. The only thing that was going on in PSVR world is Table of Tales, The Crooked Crown, pretty damn good game. That game came out. Box VR is out, but you know, pretty expensive for Box VR. But there hasn't been too much going on in the PSVR world. Of course, Blood and Truth, baby. Blood and Truth is coming on May 28th. And you know what? That game is going to be badass. And actually, speaking of PlayStation VR, I've got a bonus for you guys. I have found a trailer for not Hot Shots Golf. I was going to call it Hot Shots Golf. No, Everybody's Golf VR. I haven't seen this trailer anywhere on any of like the North American PSVR channels, but PlayStation Asia has a trailer for Everybody's Golf VR. And I've never seen this trailer anyway, so why don't we go ahead and check this trailer out. I'm going to pump up Tetris Effect, and we're going to check out this new Everybody's Golf trailer. I've never seen it before. Might be old to you guys, but let's check this out.
The researchers gave this phenomenon a name.
Great work! It slightly breaks to the left. Come on! Everybody's Golf VR. Yes?
Yeah, so have you guys seen that trailer before? I never saw this trailer, but maybe I missed it. Looks pretty cool. Like, it looks like it's a well-designed trailer. It's kind of catchy. It's got the slow motion, like the stop animation kind of technique. And you know what? The one thing that I am excited about with Everybody's Golf VR is this is the good thing about the PlayStation Move controller. You can actually hold a single PlayStation Move controller and almost grip it like you're gripping a real golf club. So that is like the one cool thing about it. And then of course they show the guy in real life, with a basically almost like a little anime girl right there, so there's that factor as well. Like, I'm sure they're definitely selling that as well. But yeah, it's a pretty good looking commercial. Like, this should be on like American TV and stuff. But I don't think I've ever seen this anywhere. I don't know if you guys have seen this commercial. But yeah, Everybody's Golf, May 21st, bro. May 21st. Of course, I'm going to be playing Vader Immortal. Why are people bringing shit out on May 21st? I guess not everybody's going to have an Oculus Quest, but everybody with a brain should. Nah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of excited for this. Not like super crazy excited. But golf in VR, it seems like it's a marriage made in heaven. Like, it seems like it's the most natural thing in the world. Golf in VR should work really good. And there's a lot of people that love golf that have never tried VR. And if you could have a really cool golf game, it's a great thing that you could throw a lot of people into. For example, my father-in-law, there's two different things that my father-in-law might be really interested in VR. Number one is golf, and number two is poker. My father-in-law, like, I'm telling you, dude, Poker Stars VR, when I get my Oculus Quest, if I can get Poker Stars VR and I can take it over to my father-in-law's house and have him try playing a real poker game in VR where you see real people and their hands are moving and the whole thing that Poker Stars VR does, I think he's going to be completely blown away by that. Because like, he used to go to poker, it would be like poker night, at his buddy's house or whatever. And so like once a month they would have a poker night and they would all get together on a Friday night and they would go to somebody's house and they would play poker all night long and drink beer and, talk about stuff and play poker. And he doesn't get to do that very much anymore. And one of the most incredible things about like VR is it could allow you to do that at any time of the day. You can get into a situation where you're playing poker and there's like 7 other people, or golf, for example. You could play golf any time of the day. It's raining crazy outside. You can't play golf in real life, but you can play golf in VR. These are some of the things that I think non-gamers might be like, wow, I didn't know VR could do that. I'm definitely looking forward to Everybody's Golf. May 21st, though, am I going to have any time for this? I don't know. But that is coming on May 21st. Let's see, what else can we do? So, we've been going for about an hour, so I think I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of here. There was a story, somebody was talking about, this was a number of days ago, but somebody was talking about No Man's Sky, buying it for $5 at Walmart. But I can't find it anywhere. So I don't know what they're talking about, but somebody on the PSVR subreddit said he found No Man's Sky at Walmart for $5. But I don't know if it's probably not true anymore. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of here. It's been about an hour, and I do need my cup of coffee. This is my late afternoon cup of coffee that gives me another little shot of adrenaline for the rest of my evening. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and check out of here. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into our show, VR365. If you could, go ahead and hit that like button on your way out. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed. And we will continue to bring interesting stories and news topics and all those kinds of things as well. Also, I am working... Oh, dude, Kevgret. His Walmart had it for $5. They had 10 copies of it. Dude, you should have just bought all 10 copies and send them all to me, and then I'll give them away to homies in chat. Nah, I don't know. But yeah, I would definitely go buy that thing for $5. Hell yeah. But one thing I was going to mention, guys, is I'm working on lots of interviews. I want to try to get people on for interviews. I'm working on it. I'm going to try to get a lot more people on for interviews. I think it's going to be fun to have a lot of different interviews. So I'm working on that as well. I don't want to go ridiculously interview crazy. I still want to keep this show the way it is, but I do want to try to add some more interviews. So I am working on that. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for our show. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Now remember, tomorrow is Wednesday. So we will be starting at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday, and 2 p.m. Pacific time on Friday. Yeah, do not scalp. Don't scalp it. Just pass it along to your homies, and everybody can give you a couple of extra bucks for shipping or something like that. But yeah, I got to bounce out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Take it easy. Later.